How's it going, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Y'all know what it is. It's Tuesday. It's movie draft time. We're here. Episode number 5. I'm so excited. Sasha won last week. The co-host streak continues. And the big bad man himself, Chris, is back this week. Chris, I'm happy to see you back, but at the same time, I'm a little worried. But thank you.
I'm nervous now. You've set me up for failure now with the hype. So now I'm gonna overthink this entire thing. But thank you for having me back. I'm excited. 94s I kind of just gave away the title of what we're doing, but it's gonna be an interesting category.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And then our two guests today, two people that I've wanted to collab with for a long time. Very happy. I mean, that's what this series is about, meeting people, collaborating with people. So first one we got is Nick from Nick Talks Flicks. Man, thank you for coming on. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me and inviting me on. I'm just here to destroy the other guests. That's all I'm here for.
So. Yeah, and that other guest, someone who I also have wanted to collaborate with a while too. You guys know him and love him, Nathan Hale. Nathan, thanks for coming on. How you doing today, man?
I am doing so good. I'm here to bring nothing but peace and joy to everyone who's here. I have no intentions of destroying anyone myself, so let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, there was not any trash talk going on in the group chat beforehand. None of that was happening. I'm just kidding. It was. And I knew right then and there that this would be the most fiery episode we've had so far. And I'm very excited for that. And as Chris said beforehand, he is the co-host, so I will not consider that spoiling. 1994 movies. That's what we're doing today. Considered one of the greatest years of film by many. And today we're going to draft the movies. So it's just like the 2019 draft. The pool is just the movies, no subcategories. Pretty simple, fairly easy. That's what we're doing. If you all are new here, first off, thank you for coming. That's awesome. Thank you for the support. But this is how it works. 5 rounds, snake draft. We have the pool of 1994 films this week. There is a veto, which is all 3 of the other players have to unanimously veto to get a pick thrown out. But with it being 1994 movies, that's not going to come up this week. This week. That's not going to happen. But that is always in play. And last but not least, the graphic. Y'all know the infamous graphic. The day this is up, the very second this is up, there is a graphic up on Twitter. Go vote on the graphic. Whoever wins the poll, go vote on the poll. Whoever wins the poll wins the draft. That is how this works. That is how people win. Chris knows that winning feeling oh too well. And we will see if he is defeated this week, but we shall see. But and also, like we said beforehand, the draft order is picked right before the draft starts. We just did it, and we're going to do this. Let's do it. Movie drafts. The first one I'm hosting from Texas. It's fun. It's wild. We're doing it. All right. Nathan got the number 1 overall pick. I think we all know what he's going to take, but I'm going to let him have the floor and tell us what he's taking and why.
I kind of want to low-key have you guys on the count of 3 all say it together, but I'll just go ahead and reveal that it's definitely The Lion King. Everyone saw this coming. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And when I heard that 1994 was the year that we were dedicating this episode to, I had the first pick and I could literally choose like any movie from this year. I would feel wrong if I didn't choose The Lion King. Not only is it considered by many to be the best Disney movie of all time, but it also won Hans Zimmer his only Oscar win for Best Original Score. And it has an amazing message that lives on today. Like, who doesn't like The Lion King? So that's definitely my pick.
I mean, if you would have gone on the count of 3, we would have all said The Lion King. But this was the one draft where I hoped that I was in front of another competitor. Usually I want to be in that 4 spot with the wraparound, but I knew Nathan loved The Lion King so much. And I personally love The Lion King so much as well. It's my favorite movie from 1994. So I kind of wanted it as well. But at the same time, I feel like I would have been doing a disservice if Nathan did not get The Lion King. So basically all I'm trying to say is that is an absolutely fantastic pick. One of the best films of that year. I'm going to start with Nick, the bitter rival of Nate. What do you think about that pick?
I mean, I knew it was happening. Even if I would have gotten first, I would have let him have that movie just because it's like and throughout our entire friendship, that's been like the one movie I think that maybe we've talked about more than any other film because Nate. I mean, well, okay, It's a Wonderful Life is another one, but The Lion King is a movie that I think is very special. I think it really deserves the number one spot. I mean, granted, there's like the first round of movies are going to be really good and they all could be number one, but I think that this is like a perfect pick. And I couldn't see anybody but Nate really have this pick because he loves this movie so much, and I love this movie as well. But I'm more of an Aladdin fan. But I still love it. I still love The Lion King. So,
Chris, we're gonna hop over to you. What do you think?
I think just talking about 1994 and the fact the number one pick in the draft wasn't nominated for Best Picture is disgraceful. Like overall, a disgrace that it wasn't nominated for Best Picture, because arguably it is the best movie of 1994, and there's some bangers which we're going to get to in a second. But yeah, it's my favorite Disney animated movie, my favorite animated movie of all time. I don't know if I would have taken it number one. I don't know. It's like I said, like I think Nathan said, all these movies could have gone number one that are about to go. So yeah, amazing pick.
I have a theory, really quick. I have a theory that if it hadn't come out in 1994, it would have been nominated for Best Picture.
Really?
Yeah. That's how I feel, because Beauty and the Beast was nominated, and universally, I think I don't want, like, everyone loves Beauty and the Beast. It's also amazing, but I think if there was like a worldwide vote, Lion King would be number one. I feel like.
well, it's very known that the Oscars really just have a disdain for animated feature films, so they don't really treat them as real films, which is, to me, is just horrendous. But
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic pick. And Nick got the number 2 overall pick. So
Yeah.
what are you going to take?
all right, well, I'm going with a movie that I'm going to be strategic with this. I'm going to go with not only one of the highest rated movies on IMDb. I believe it's number 1, actually. But also, it's a movie that should have won Best Picture, in my opinion, and that's The Shawshank Redemption. I have to go with The Shawshank Redemption. I watched this for the first time this year, which was crazy to me that I hadn't seen it. And oh my, is this movie just absolutely incredible. There's so many things about this movie that I love. Number 1, it was filmed by Roger Deakins, probably right now maybe the GOAT of cinematography in terms of, like, if you want to take a class to learn from the best, he'd probably be the best to learn from. And it's a movie that, I mean, it's so iconic. There's so many different scenes in that movie that I knew about them just because of how iconic the movie actually is. It's one of the most heralded and one of the most beloved films, and that's why I chose to take it at number 2, because I feel like this is a movie that's not as divisive as potentially some of the other movies that could come after it that could have been picked here. But I had to go with The Shawshank Redemption, getting that opportunity. I'm happy that I got it.
I mean, I think that's, I'm going to say this for the top 4, because we all know that there is the top 4 that is going to go in this first round. I mean, it's a great pick. I personally, and everyone, before you come at me, I have not seen it. Twitter can come at me. Y'all know I haven't seen a lot of movies. I'm still trying to see a lot of movies, but this is one that's at the top of my list because it's a classic. One, like you said, one of the highest rated on IMDb. And I've just heard, even to the point where, like, my mom and dad are like, "Wait, you haven't seen that movie?" So great pick. I'm gonna go over to Nathan. What do you think about?
Oh yeah, it was absolutely obvious that Nick was going with that one. It is number 1 on top 250 of IMDb, and it's been number 1 for years. And so I knew that just like Jack said, I knew that was leaving in this first round absolutely without a doubt. So great.
Yeah, I can bounce off that. I absolutely love The Shawshank Redemption, and I think that it's a movie that everyone should see at least once. While I myself have only seen it technically, like, okay, when I watch a movie on TV, I count it as like half a watch. I'm very weird. Like, it was edited for TV, so it doesn't feel right, but I still have seen it like twice. But it was, whenever it's on, I'll watch chunks of it just because it's so captivating. And I think the score and just the performances and the camaraderie between Andy and Red, it's just like unmatched, honestly. The dialogue and just the score, the iconic shot of him when he finally is free, like, come on, that's just, everyone has seen that, even if you haven't seen the movie.
And I would even argue, Chris, that everyone needs to see it at least twice, because once you've seen it once, you know how it ends. So you're like, oh my gosh, like, now that I know that, I want to see it again.
Yeah, and I think it's masterfully written. It's just deserving of the number 1 spot on IMDb. I don't know. Like, I don't know what you guys think, but it's still like probably top 20. I don't know. That list is so hard to make. Like, the best of all time objectively. Yeah. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, fantastic film. all four of these top four are all fantastic films, and I am now on the clock, and this is going exactly when I saw the draft order, this is going exactly how I hoped it would have gone, because I knew with Nathan number one, The Lion King was going to be off the board. So I was like, okay, well, what's my number two? And I felt like in this top four, I would be doing a disservice if I picked a film I hadn't seen. I have not seen two of them. So I'm going to take the one that I've seen, which I do still love and think is deserving of this spot. And that is Pulp Fiction. I'm going with Pulp Fiction at number 3. Look, Tarantino is weird for me. I love some of his films. I'm not the biggest fan of some of his other films. Pulp Fiction's in this weird kind of limbo for me. I do really enjoy it for a lot of what it does. I think some of the performances are fantastic. I do like a lot about the script. I think overall it's a very solid film. It's Tarantino doing Tarantino before he was Tarantino, if that makes sense. He's doing his own style. He's doing his own thing before he was as big as he is now and has a huge, like, not even cult following, just mainstream following that he has now. But, you know, it's got iconic moments, iconic performances, iconic lines. I mean, Chris, I know you did your movie quote video. I don't know how many from Pulp Fiction were in there, but I know at least 1 or 2 were. So absolutely fantastic film. I really do enjoy it. I was a little lukewarm on it when I first saw it, but then going back and revisiting some of the moments, I've gained a bigger appreciation for it, and I really enjoy it. But I'll start with Chris. What do you think about that pick at number 3?
For the longest time, Pulp Fiction was my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. And like it's the second one I saw. I think I watched Reservoir Dogs first because I wanted to like watch them in order of release date or whatever. I ended up skewing from that because I skipped Jackie Brown and watched it later. But Pulp Fiction is one of the most iconic movies of all time. I think most people have seen it at least once. And it's one of those movies that like dads love for something. Like a lot of dads love it. And like, I know my dad's like, oh, we watched Pulp Fiction all the time back in the day. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I understand why. It's extremely quotable and it's cemented Tarantino where he is now because he actually won, right? He won with what's the guy's name? Roger, I don't know his name. He won the screenplay award, I believe, and then that's all he took home that night, I want to say. But yeah, it really made him like a household name, I'd say. So yeah, great pick, and I knew that it was going to go in the top 3.
Yeah, I'll hop over to Nick. What do you think?
I love Pulp Fiction. This was the one that I debated on taking too, but I thought the thing is it's like it's either your favorite Tarantino movie or it's at the bottom for a lot of people. It seems like I love this film. I think it's very iconic. It's very classic. Tarantino is actually one of my favorite directors. But to me, it's a movie that I think lives on in infamy with just the performances of John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman. I mean, the cast is incredible. I mean, oh my gosh, so many A-listers. And it's a movie that, when you look back at it, it's aged extremely well, which is very interesting because I watched it for the first time just a few years ago, and I didn't think I was going to like it nearly as much because I was like, I don't know if it, you know, let's see how it aged. And it's aged extremely well. And I still, the fact that people to this day are still like finding this movie for the first time and are loving it, that's really awesome. And I think that that's just the joy that the movies can bring. Like this feels like an actual hangout movie, and it feels like the type of film that I would just have loved to have seen in 1994 if I was alive on the big screen, for sure.
And Nathan, what are your thoughts?
I'm that person that Nick just mentioned, that it's either your favorite Quentin Tarantino or your least favorite. Pulp Fiction isn't, I'm not a huge fan of it. I've seen it one time, and I think I was in 8th grade and I watched it on TV. And so I think my 8th grade eyes were just like, what did I just watch? That movie was crazy. But I like what you said about how it was Quentin Tarantino before Tarantino. And I think that's one of the big reasons it has such a big following, because Tarantino has kind of like, he's had more of an opportunity to establish himself and what kind of filmmaker he is. And so for that movie to be released when it probably felt more revolutionary at the time, I suppose. And so maybe that's why it's like bigger than, that's why it has such a big following. So I recognize that it's a great movie. It's just not personally my favorite. And I knew it was going to go in this first round. It was another one of those movies that like I knew it was gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And there we go, Chris. I don't know what this co-host luck is, but you got the wraparound again. And then I think it's fairly obvious what you're going to take now, but you have the floor, my friend.
No, I'm tempted to spice it up because I have the next pick after. I'm because I have the last pick in the first round, I'm taking Speed.
You're the worst. You're the worst.
That's awesome.
I'm taking Speed, the action classic with Keanu Reeves, with the bomb on the bus. I mean, this is another one of those iconic action movies. I'd put it on like the same level as Die Hard. I don't know if that's blasphemous to some people, but like, I think that genuinely speaking, it's an action classic. The first time I ever saw it, I was in a hotel room at like 5:30 a.m. because I went to Disneyland and I couldn't sleep because like my body was on 8. It was 8:30 in my body, so I was awake. And I watched it and I just was like shook, honestly, at how engaging it was. I think Dennis Hopper plays the villain. It's just this, I see everyone's face. It's great. It's honestly, though, an action classic. And I don't know if any of y'all have seen it, but action classic for sure.
This is why we can't have nice things. The integrity of the draft is at stake right now.
Oh, man. How's everyone feel? Have
I
you
just
guys
love
seen
the
Speed?
moment of silence after he gave his pitch. We're all like,
I'm just, that's such a thing to do. Chris is slowly becoming the villain of this series. And and look, he's taken a heel turn and there's nothing we can do about it. But you know what? That may come back to bite you in the no, it won't. It won't because you're gonna take what you're gonna take next. But people will be like, you didn't take that in the first round. Yeah, I mean, look, okay, I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips. From what I've seen, it looks great. It looks like Keanu doing Keanu, and the concept is just ridiculous, but it's ridiculous to a point that it's good. So I'm gonna watch it eventually, and I feel like I will thoroughly enjoy it. But we'll start with Nathan. What do you think?
I think honestly, I think it's hilarious. Like I totally see why Chris chose that before what he's going to choose next because of the position he has right now. But I actually haven't seen Speed. I know that it's an iconic movie, but that's one that as I was preparing for this video, I was like, all right, I'll add that to my list. So when it comes down to it and I have nothing else to say, I'll be like, oh, well, Speed is a really good action film. So I'm kind of glad that like it's taken now so I don't have to make a fool of myself, but that'll probably come later anyways. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd never seen the movie, but can I just say that was an absolute baller move. That was a Sith move right there, and I, for one, am very welcoming into the Sith group. So welcome, man. I'm after Nate. You're after Jack. I love it. This is great.
Oh man,
it's been too long of a day for me to deal with this. I have a headache now.
Oh, that's great.
But in all seriousness, no. I mean, just take Forrest Gump. Just do it. Just go. Go ahead.
Yeah, with the first pick of the second round, Forrest Gump. It's one of my most rewatched movies. It's another one of those movies that if you have cable growing up and it was on TV, it was always on in the background. It was always be on like the ABC Family Channel. I think it is now Freeform. Irrelevant information. But either way, Forrest Gump. I own it on Blu-ray. I watch it. Try to watch it once a year. One of the most quotable, iconic movies of all time. I feel like I'm just playing a broken record here with everything we've said about the three Best Picture nominees that were taken. I mean, yeah, from that day on, if I was going somewhere, I was running. I mean, that's it. It's a great movie.
Great movie, great pick. I mean, all jokes aside, Forrest Gump is one of the great movies to come out that year. Tom Hanks' performance is just brilliant.
I think I got a little tear coming after that impersonation, Chris. That was just too beautiful, man.
Yeah, I think we got another Oscar on the way. But yeah, I mean,
I'm coming
like
for
I said,
Frank Caliendo, Jack.
hey, don't tempt. I mean that could work. But yeah, I mean, great pick. We'll start with Nick. How you feel about that pick?
I mean, how could you not love Forrest Gump? It's a great movie. It won Best Picture over Shawshank, which is very interesting. I mean, it was a loaded year, though. I mean, wow. You want to talk about back in the day when it was only 5 movies for Best Picture? What a tight 5 it had. But I mean, it's a movie that I don't visit often as I should, which is unfortunate, and I haven't seen it in a while. But it's one of those movies that's just like iconic. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Like, just iconic. There's so many iconic lines in it. Him saying Jenny every 5 minutes is incredible. Lieutenant Dan, like one of my favorite characters probably in that movie. There's just so many things to love about that movie, and it's like its cultural significance. I feel like if you want to learn more about film and you want to like watch, some of the classics, I think Forrest Gump is definitely one that should be at the top of your list to watch because it really is like a movie that you can just love and just enjoy the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nathan, what do you think?
Yeah, no, that I had three top choices for this, and it was Lion King, Shawshank, and Forrest Gump. So I knew that that was going to be the next one. And the this is so obnoxious of me, but my cousin and I, we have this thing where whenever we see each other from a distance, which doesn't happen often, but when it does, we'll scream at each other. We'll be like, Lieutenant Dan, like at the top of our lungs, even if it's like in a crowded place, because everyone like looks back. And it's so dumb because like if you haven't seen Forrest Gump, everyone's like, what is wrong with that person? And they probably still thinking that if they have seen it. But still, Forrest Gump is just iconic. I feel like it's that movie, you know, the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood meme with Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV. I feel like it's that movie because like he's going through different events in history, and you're like, hey, whoa, that's the Watergate scandal, and that's this and this that, and like all that. And so it's just it's a classic.
I wanted to say something before we move on from Forrest Gump. I think it's one of the few movies that actually makes me cry, and it does every time I watch it. At the end when he's at the grave, I won't say who. If he's at Jenny's grave, I don't care. If you haven't seen Forrest Gump, get out of here. But like it's the way his Tom Hanks voice quivers. It's just that he's like, "I miss you, Jedi." I'm like, oh, tears every time.
Stop it, Chris.
Chris, stop it. Stop it. But yeah, great picks from Chris coming out hot. That was the 5 that I thought it was gonna go. So not in the order that I thought it was gonna go.
Did you really think Speed was going to go in the top 5?
I thought you were gonna take it on the wraparound.
Okay, fair.
On the wraparound, might I add.
Oh man.
But that's okay. I'm up. So this is a year where I don't know a lot of the films. I don't. I just have not seen a lot of these films.
Good to hear.
So I'm about to lose the draft, but I'm going to, maybe people will vote for me because I'm going with my heart. I'm not pandering. I'm going with my heart. And because the director retweeted me during South by Southwest. But I'm also going with my heart. I'm taking Clerks by Kevin Smith. I love this film. I saw it either early this year or end of last year. And it's a film about people that are just doing nothing and getting up to antics and hanging out. And I'm like, I want to hang out with them. You know, they're totally not nice people at all, but I want to hang out with them. But for real, I mean, the way Kevin Smith directs his films, it's got that style that is just so Kevin Smith that I love it. The performances are all fantastic. I would say, I think it's a highly underrated movie. It's got a huge cult following, but it should have a bigger following than just a cult following. And you know, I wasn't even supposed to be here today. That's just where I'm going to leave it. But I love Clerks and I'm taking it. I'm going with my heart. I'm hoping people will vote for me because I used my heart over my pandering little brain. But we'll start with Nick. What do you think?
Yeah, I have seen Clerks. I'm kind of sad because I wasn't expecting it this round. I was kind of hoping it was going to go later because it was one that I kind of like circled that I have a really good chance of getting. But that's okay. Hey, eat me. Don't listen to that guy. Who is that guy?
It's eating up, folks.
Anyway, I mean, what was I saying before I was so rudely interrupted? I was saying a lot of nothing, so it's okay. So Clerks is a movie that to me, Kevin Smith is kind of weird because either he makes films that I really enjoy and really like, or he makes dumpster fires. And like when it's the dumpster fire, I mean, it's an absolute pile of garbage. But I do like Kevin Smith a lot. I like the fact that he's very much into the nerd culture. He's a big Star Wars fan like me, so I really respect that and I love that. And he cries during Marvel movies, and that's awesome. I actually think this is a good pick. I think this is a sneaky good pick. I think there's a lot of people out there, especially like in our film community, who like this movie. So I actually think it's a smart pick, in my opinion. That's why I was hoping that I could maybe get it on like round 3, maybe even sneak it in round 4. But I was like, I don't know if it's going to go till round 4. But I think it's a sneaky good pick.
Well, see, that's why I know I had to take it because I knew that someone had it on their radar, and it looks like it was Nick that had it on his radar. And I knew that I wasn't going to have another pick until round 3, and Nick and Nathan, we each go twice. So I was not going to put that to risk before I got another pick. So I'm very satisfied with that pick. I'll go over to Nathan next. What do you think about that pick?
I agree with what Nick said. It's one of those cult classic films that definitely has its following. So to the people who have seen the movie, they're definitely going to, that's going to catch their eye when they're looking at this poll on Twitter. And that, honestly, I think that's going to really help you when it comes to voting. But I can't give a personal review. I haven't seen it, but I know of its following, and I definitely know of it. And I know that like a lot of people love it. So I think that's a great pick.
And Chris, over to you. What do you think?
Haven't seen it. Does anyone know who Alex Leba is?
Yeah.
Alex Leba is like a big fan of this movie. So shout out to him.
I was wondering if Alex liked this movie.
Yeah. He like always made videos about it. I think he interviewed one of the people. That's why I know about Clerks so much. But that's really all I know. And it's a black and white film, right? I think.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith's cool though. I watched some of his content on YouTube, but other than that, I got nothing. Good pick, I guess, because I haven't seen it.
I think the film was made in like a budget of like $5,000 or something crazy like that.
Something like that,
really
yeah.
Low. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the film, and like I said, Kevin Smith quote retweeted me this during South by Southwest, and actually, the main actor of Clerks liked the tweet as well. So little cool, yay! That's what I get for saying great things about the documentary, which y'all should check out when it comes out. It's one of my favorite films of the year. But we have Nick up now. What are you taking?
All right. I might shoot myself in the foot with this, but I actually think that I'm playing this smart. And there's a lot of people that love this movie, and I'm one of them. It's a cult classic. I'm going with Dumb and Dumber. 1994 was the year of Jim Carrey. I mean, the year. He had a couple other films that will probably be mentioned later on in this video, and they're all very big movies. I love this movie. I don't really care. I know it's really stupid, and it panders to it dumbs everything down. But I'm so happy that I get to choose this in the second round, because I was hoping that this was how it was going to play out, that I'd be able to take Dumb and Dumber, because I do think that this is also a sneaky good pick like Clerks. I think that this movie is so quotable. I think it's a movie that was ahead of its time in terms of the humor. I think it's a very smart, dumb movie, which you don't see a lot of. Unfortunately, it has terrible dumpster fire sequels, but I am happy that, we got the iconic duo of Harry and Lloyd and their misadventures, and Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey are incredible in these roles. And it's one of those movies that like puts a smile on my face every time I watch it. So I had to go with Dumb and Dumber for my pick.
I don't know if you're shooting yourself in the foot on that one, because that was the one. It was between that and Clerks for me. And the reason why I made my whole argument, I'm going against Pander versus Heart. I'm going Heart versus Pander is because I haven't seen Dumb and Dumber, and that would have been a heavy Pander. But I have seen Clerks, and I love it so much. So that's why I ended up going Clerks. So like I said, I have not seen Dumb and Dumber, but there's no doubt it's got also another cult, if not even more mainstream following, and some fantastic performances. I've seen clips from it. It looks hilarious. I think that's a great pick. We'll start with Chris. What do you think about Dumb and Dumber?
Haven't seen it. I haven't seen Dumb and Dumber. I know that means half the people in this haven't seen Dumb and Dumber, I believe.
Okay, well, we're gonna get out of the way first.
But yeah, wow, so that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I know it's iconic. I've seen like scenes on Twitter and all that, but I just haven't seen the movie.
All right, we'll hop over to Nathan then. What do you think?
Chris, have you at least seen the most annoying noise in the world scene?
Perhaps. I don't. It doesn't ring a bell.
I'm not going to imitate it. Imitate it, but that's a great scene. No, Dumb and Dumber. I think Dumb and Dumber and Clerks. I can see why you were trying to decide between the two, Jack, because those are both. They both kind of have those cult followings where, I haven't seen Clerks, but do a lot of people consider it a masterpiece, or is it more the cult following? Like, I just love this movie with Clerks.
I think it's more of the cult following. I think some people will say it's a masterpiece in its own way. I wouldn't go that far,
because that's what I was just going to say, like Dumb and Dumber and Clerks, neither of them are really considered masterpieces, but they both have their big fan bases and the big followings. And so honestly, Nick, I think Dumb and Dumber is a great pick, and it was on my radar as well.
Yeah. And
Well,
I'm
it was
just
like number 18, so no worries.
he's strapped with picks. Wow. I'm just gonna put this out there for everyone.
Number 6.
We've not seen a lot of these films. I mean, Nathan and Nick might have seen a few more, but I know I have not seen a lot of these films. I know Chris and I were talking earlier. We both have not seen a lot of these films. So a lot of these films we're going to be picking and we might not have seen. So before y'all comment us in the comments or on Twitter, I'm putting that out there right now. This was before, I think before any of us were born. I mean, I was born in 98. This was way before I was born. So
I was 95.
Yeah.
I think I might be the oldest one here.
So yeah, okay. So we weren't around. So just putting that all out there. But Nathan has the wraparound. So he's got 2 picks. So what are you going to take with your first pick?
First one, I am going. Oh, this is funny. These are actually my 4 and 5. I'm going to go with Ed Wood, directed by Tim Burton, because I know that Tim Burton's fan base is out there. And to those who have seen this movie, it ranks amongst their highest Tim Burton films. I know that Chris hasn't seen a lot of Tim Burton movies. We talked
Like
about
2 of them, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, everyone loves a movie about a movie. And Ed Wood is a movie about infamously one of the worst movie directors of all time. It's not The Room, or it's not The Disaster Artist, but it's Johnny Depp playing. What was that?
Plan 9 from Outer Space. I actually watched it this year.
Yes, yeah. It's Johnny Depp playing Ed Wood, who is infamous for making the movie Plan 9 from Outer Space. And it's basically him trying to get the funding for making what's considered one of the worst movies of all time. The whole thing is in black and white. And it also won Martin Landau a Best Oscar for Supporting Actor. And on top of that, on IMDb, it's Tim Burton's 3rd highest rated movie. And so because of the icon status and that it's a Hollywood movie with Johnny Depp in it, which in my opinion, it's one of his best performances, I really wanted to include it in my draft.
There you go. I mean, if there's one thing I've learned in these drafts, the poll loves movies about making movies. So I think that'll treat you very well. Again, one that I personally have not seen, but just reading the synopsis, I read it before you said it. It sounds fascinating. One I definitely want to check out now. And yeah, it's a great pick. I'll start with Nick. What do you think about this pick?
I haven't seen the movie.
Has anyone seen this movie?
I do, and I love Tim Burton, which is funny. It's one that I just haven't seen. I haven't seen a lot of his older films, but I will say that I have seen Plan 9 from Outer Space, and I actually disagree. I don't think it's terrible. I just think it's very boring and it loses itself.
I love that movie, but universally it's considered to be one of the worst.
I mean, I would say The Room is worse. I would say like a lot of other films that I've seen are worse. I watched a movie called LaQuisha a couple years ago. Okay, remember, like I've seen some pretty bad movies. And to me, it was a movie that was boring. It had terrible acting and stuff. But so I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess for that time period, I guess it makes sense why it would be considered horrible. It's bad, but. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie. It's one that it's been on my radar for a while, and I actually didn't even have it down for the draft. So Nate, you can freely take that pick. I'm okay with that.
And Chris, I'll go over to you for thoughts. I know none of us have seen it, but any thoughts you might have?
It's funny because I didn't want to say I studied the opponents in this one, but I know that Nathan's such a big Tim Burton fan. I didn't even write Ed Wood down. I was like, oh, Ed Wood, I've heard of that from his video when he ranked the movie. So I was like, yeah, he's probably going to pick that because I don't think anyone else has seen it. Maybe one day I'll watch all the Tim Burton movies. Who knows?
And we'll get that ranking someday to look out for. But Nathan, you got the next pick as well. You got the wraparound. What are you going to take?
Well, I was going to say really quick about Ed Wood. That's the only thing that could hurt me is if more people on Twitter haven't seen it. But the people who have seen it, I think it will help. But anyways, the wraparound, I'm going with the movie that I haven't seen myself. And I'm surprised that it hasn't been mentioned yet. But Leon the Professional. Did everyone have that on their list?
That was the next one on my list. Yep.
Yep. So that movie, let me give you some stats here. That movie is ranked number 31 on the IMDb top 250 with over 1 million ratings on it, an 8.5 average rating. It stars a young Natalie Portman. It's about a hitman and a young girl who goes along with him as he does his hitman business, I guess. And it's a movie that has been on my radar ever since I found out about it because of just how highly acclaimed it is. And so I feel like it's something that has to be mentioned for the year 1994, because although I haven't seen it, it's a movie I've always known about. And so it deserves, like, the fact that I've always known about it and I've always known that I need to see it, to me, that says enough that like it's a worthy opponent for this draft.
Yeah, like I said, this was the next one on my list as well. One that I also personally have not seen, but has been very high on my radar just because of the concept, the acclaim it's been given. I've heard Natalie Portman's performance is fantastic. All of those ingredients have made it one that is at the top of my list to watch, but I have not seen it. But I do feel like that is a great pick. And for it to get taken in the third round, I feel like is a really great value pick. So basically what I'm saying is I think that's a great pick. We'll start with Nick. What do you think about that pick?
It's also been one that's been on my radar for a while. You know, it's kind of funny. I kind of forgot the movie. Not that it didn't exist. I didn't even know it was in 1994. I don't even like when I was looking at the movies before this. I might have skipped it. Like my eyes just might have glanced over it. And now that he took it, I'm kind of upset because my gosh, that's a really good pick, and I would have loved to have that next. But I mean, I didn't even see it, so I probably wouldn't have even picked it anyway. But you know, I hate saying Nate's right. But he's right on this pick. I don't know. I think it's a really good pick.
Wait, Nick, say it again. Say it again.
Nope, you get it once. That's it.
Oh, it's okay. This is recorded. We're good.
Oh, don't worry. That it'll be there. I ain't cutting that. It's gonna be there.
I'm gonna timestamp it in the comments.
You're the worst, man.
But we'll hop over to Chris. What do you think, man?
This is one of those movies that I like have almost watched at least 5 times. I think it was on Netflix and it was like there, and I was like, it was my roommate freshman year. I was like, "Do you want to watch this?" Because we watched like a movie or two every night during the week, and then we never watched it. It was like, "Oh, we'll watch it eventually." It's like so high on the IMDb top 250, like Nathan said, and it's just I have never watched it, but I know like some distinct shots from the movie of Natalie Portman, but like I just haven't seen it for whatever reason.
Yeah, but I think it's on all of our lists. Nathan, go ahead. What are you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say that makes all of us for having not seen it.
That might be a trend here from moving on. Maybe.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but we got Nick back around third round. What are you going to take?
I'm a little nervous because there are a couple movies here, and I know they're going to be taken. I know whatever I don't choose is going to be taken. But I'm going to go off of my gut. I'm going to go off of, and I haven't seen any of these movies, but I'm going to go off of what I know about cult status for films and how acclaimed this movie is by a lot of people in the horror community and also in like the comic book community. I'm going with The Crow. I'm going with The Crow, and I know what the next picks are going to be, and that's why it's like so scary for me because I'm like, like I could choose anything else, but I'm going with this movie based off of the fact that a lot of people in my social circle talk about this film all the time. I actually was just talking to mine and Nate's friend Jackson yesterday, and I asked him about this movie because it's actually on my 100 movies project to watch this year, and he said that this movie's great and that he loves this film. And it's very famous for Brandon Lee. He actually ended up dying on the set of this film, which is very sad. The stunt that went wrong. And I'm going to go with this movie based off of the fact that I know a lot of people really do like this movie. It's like a cult classic. So I'm keep my fingers crossed that this one pans out for me.
Thank God. Because I thought you were building up to take something else. So I'm good.
That kind of. I think I know what. I think I know what Jack's taking next, and we're gonna get a pretty irate reaction from me, maybe. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I don't know if you know, but
I don't know. We'll see. It's like, what if it's just not that, and we're all wrong about each other?
For real. A personal one that I have not seen, one that hasn't really ever been on my radar. I think it's just there's so many other films that I need to see that I haven't really ever considered The Crow, but it sounds interesting enough. I mean, I'm not the biggest of a horror guy, but there is no doubt that it has a following. I think it will do you well in the poll. If the Crow flock come and see it. Well, we'll start with Chris.
I
What do you
wanted
think
to
about
say
that pick?
something real quick to
Oh,
what you're saying, Jack.
Go for it.
So it's not the reason why it's big in the horror community. It's not a horror film. It's more of a dark film. It's very dark, but a lot of people get those like horror thriller vibes from it. That's why it's like a big like movie that's not a horror film that a lot of horror fans really love.
okay. That's a better way to classify. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. But we'll start with Chris. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, kind of bouncing off of what Nick said. I haven't seen the movie, but it has like a lot of gothic imagery to it, right? Kind of like those
Yeah.
creepy vibes. I remember seeing like the main character with some face paint, kind of like he's from the band Kiss. I think that's what it kind of looks like. But I obviously know about the movie because, like you said, the actor did die from the stunt. That's the only thing I know from it. I don't know what the movie's about at all. Is it based off an Edgar Allan Poe piece of anything? I mean,
No,
maybe.
it's based off of a comic book, like a
Okay.
beloved like Dark Horse comic, maybe. I think it might be Dark Horse.
Okay. Well, yeah, I haven't seen it. It's not really on my radar, but you never know. I might watch it one day.
Yeah, we'll hop over to Nathan.
Yeah, everything Chris just said, I second that. Along with the kiss thing and the accident on the set, like literally everything he said, he took it right out of my mouth.
Great
And there
minds
you
think
go.
alike.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So the Crow is off the board. So it is my turn. Boy, oh boy. Am I about to have a draft? Yeah, I'm about to have a draft. So this draft for me could go one of two ways. It could go really good or it could go very poor. Because I think, this next film has, I would say, a cult following. I don't know if it's necessarily mainstream, but I think when this time of year comes around, a lot of people love to pop it in.
I'm about to cry.
my week has been made because I'm taking the Santa Claus.
I had that on my radar.
Absolutely sickening.
I knew Nate had that on his. I didn't even write it down because I knew Nate had it on his list. I knew it.
That
I'll see you guys later.
is
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
that is the payback for taking speed with your
No.
first round pick. That's your payback.
Yeah.
What can you say? Tim Allen,
I'm defeated.
fantastic. The concept is brilliant. Everything about this film. It is a classic Christmas film, and if you disagree, you are wrong. I love it. It's one that I don't think I watched it last year, but I tend to watch it most years. And it's one of the greatest trilogies of all time. And if you argue, you are wrong. But I got to take the original. I'm going with the Santa Claus. We're going to start with Chris. What do you think about that pick?
That's the first time. I think this is my fourth time being on movie drafts. That's the first time I felt genuinely defeated inside. I thought I was gonna get it. It kept getting closer. I was like, no one's gonna get the Santa Claus because I think that movie has so much nostalgia. People are more likely to click it. And then that with Forrest Gump, I feel like nostalgia heavy. And I've been like, oh, I gotta go with this, but it's gone now, and life goes on. I gotta adapt and hit the drafting board and see what I'm gonna pick next. But well done.
Thank you, pal. We're gonna go hop over to Nathan. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's I was very tempted to choose the Santa Claus literally as my third choice since I hadn't seen Leon, but I really just went with Leon because I knew that it was so critically acclaimed. But the Santa Claus, it's a classic, and I'd be lying if I said that I knew my whole life that there's an E at the end because of the clause. I only found that out like a year or two ago. So that's great. I learn something new every day. But you can call me wrong, but it's the trilogy isn't good. The first two are good. The third is
Well, that was more of a a joke. That was more of a joke. But yeah, I mean, we'll hop over to Nick. What do you think, man?
I knew that this movie came out in 1994. I didn't even have it on my radar just because I didn't have it on my list. I thought for sure I saw it and I was like, oh, Nate's going to choose that because I knew if Nate was ahead of me in the draft order, he probably would have chosen it like right after Lion King. I'm surprised he didn't actually.
I don't only watch children's films, Nick.
No. But I know your infinite love for Disney, and I get it. It's a great film. Like I really love the Santa Claus. It's one of the movies that I feel like I remember maybe even the most as a kid, other than like Star Wars and stuff. Like I remember actually watching that film like every Christmas, And I remember watching the third film in theaters. Not a great moment. But yeah, that's a really good pick. I actually feel so stupid now for choosing The Crow. I mean, I'm happy with The Crow, but like at the same time, I'm like, oh crap, like I totally could have chosen that. I took it off my list because I thought for sure Nate would have already picked it by now. So Nate and I both lose.
This is going very nicely for me. I'm really enjoying this. Chris, how will you recover? You have the wraparound.
You know, we'll see what happens here, but I'm going with The Mask, Jim Carrey movie. Haven't seen it. I know it's iconic for the imagery. I'm not saying that I'm out, but I'm feeling pretty down right now about this draft, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep my head up.
Man, Chris is in shambles right now. In the words of our other co-host Sasha, he's down bad.
I am.
But you know
the
what?
downfall.
I still think this one will get you some votes because I think a lot of the films that came out of this year, they either have very high acclaim and have very mainstream followings, or they have some sort of cult following. And I feel like The Mask has, in some way, shape, or form, a cult following. So again, I personally have not seen this one. I've seen a lot of clips. I've seen a lot of the very famous images from it. But I don't think you're as down bad as you think you are, because I think The Mask does have a bit of a following. And if those people come around, you may get some votes. We'll start with Nick. What do you think about The Mask?
You know, I have seen it. It's been a while. I will say genuinely, I'm not that big of a fan of it. It's okay. It's got a couple of really funny moments, and then the rest of it's kind of like dull. Here's the interesting thing though, and I think this might hurt you, Chris, with this pick, is just because you think about Jim Carrey in '94, like Dumb and Dumber is like the movie that you gravitate towards. I do think that this is actually a better pick though than some of the other ones that you could have picked. I mean, '94, it's like you get some really good movies, and now the movies that we're going to kind of get into, they're kind of like the movies that like no one talks about, so it's a little hard. Yeah, it's a DC movie. No, it's not, but it's technically The Mask is from DC Comics. Yeah, Cameron Diaz looks like a bombshell in this movie, so I mean, you got that for you. If people love Cameron Diaz, hey, you know, you might just get some votes.
We'll see. Maybe.
And over to Nathan. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think I've seen The Mask all the way through. I've at least seen a large portion of it, but you've got 1994 Jim Carrey going for you because that was really his year. And it's a lot of kind of crude humor, but like Nick said, I remember some funny moments that still crack me up if I think about it. But I think it was a good choice. It was honestly on my list too of movies to choose from. So I think that it was a good choice.
There you go. Good choices all around. Chris, you got the next pick. What do you take?
So I'm really tempted to do something very risky, depending on what side of film Twitter it lands on. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but you know, we'll see. Like at this point, for me at least, I haven't really we're getting kind of out there with the movie selection for '94. And you know what? If it hurts me, it hurts me. I don't think any of you have seen this movie. I watched it in a film class once. But fingers crossed it hits that side of film Twitter. Chungking Express, a Wong Kar-wai movie. It's the only I know that he did In the Mood for Love. I haven't seen that, but if this hits that Criterion side of the film Twitter, maybe it could make some noise. But I think it's a really good movie. Also, I mean, why not go with the variety at this point? I'm down bad, to quote a former guest on the show. Why not spice it up a little, you know? I like the movie quite a bit as well. It's got a really catchy song. It's like, I can't do it because it would damage eardrums, but I'll look it up and maybe play it towards the end of this draft. It's worth a watch, though. I really do think it is.
Yeah.
Look, it's like I said, I don't think you're down as bad as you think you are. I think you're bringing in some really nice variety. You're going at all different sections of film Twitter, especially with this pick. So I think your draft is going very strategically. I think it's going well. I would not say you're down bad. I would say the poll is very sporadic, and we will see. I have not seen this film. I just looked it up. It looks interesting. The synopsis looks interesting, but I can't really comment on it because I've not seen it. But we'll go over to Nick. What do you think about this?
I don't even know the words that you said that came out of your mouth, to be completely honest with you.
Fair.
But but I will say,
No, it won't focus.
I will say though, it's funny. You have literally the Criterion expert, Nate. I'm just the guy who goes along on his Criterion adventures and just, makes a bunch of Salo jokes. So like, there's a lot of people out there, and Nate will attest to this. Anytime we ever collab and make Criterion content, we get so many views on our videos, so many comments. People, every time we do live streams together, people are like, when are you guys going Criterion? What are you guys going to buy in Criterion? And so I will say that pick is a dang good one, and I think it's going to get a lot more people than you think, and I think. It's because of the Criterion like fandom. I mean, it's crazy how big Criterion actually is, and especially on film Twitter. Yeah, I think that pick honestly might have just like completely just hurt our chances of winning. I'm not even kidding. Like, I honestly, like, the Criterion fans are crazy, and it's awesome, and we love them. But yeah, it's that's a really good pick.
Well, thank you. We'll have to see if it lands on that side of Twitter or not. Hopefully,
well, we're gonna hop over to the Criterion King himself, Nate, and get his thoughts on this pick.
So I wish I could say I've seen this, but I've heard of it, and I didn't realize it was a 1994 film. Usually when you have those favorite years of movies, I feel like a movie stands out to you more. You're like, oh, I want to watch that because I already know I love the year so much, so I should give it a watch. And I didn't know that this one came out in 94. So honestly, like, your pick makes me put it on my radar like right now. Like, I want to watch it soon because it's a Criterion and it's from 1994. Doesn't get much better than that. So I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it because it's kind of like one of those movies where you get like, two different couples in a sense. So it's like two different love stories. So it's like you're following different characters throughout, and it can get confusing. Foreign films for me, I kind of sometimes have to process longer. When you're reading the subtitles, it's harder to take in sometimes. But it's got a great soundtrack, and I think it has some really iconic shots as well. Like, I dug it. It's not like super pretentious or anything like some of the movies I had to watch in that class.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I think you're coming with a lot of really great variety. And I have the next pick, and I'm going to try to add a little bit of variety to mine as well. I'm actually going with a documentary, and one that has been highly acclaimed, one that people say is one of the best sports documentaries of all time.
Oh no, fetch!
They say it rivals The Last Dance as one of the best basketball documentaries of all time.
Oh no, I had this on my list, dude. Come on.
This is my next pick, Jack.
Oh no.
So I'm taking Hoop Dreams.
I had a whole
Criterion.
argument for
That is
Chris.
Criterion.
I literally had a whole line set up for Chris.
So I'm taking Hoop Dreams with my next pick. And I'm gonna be the bearer of bad news for both of you too. I haven't seen it.
Neither have I. I haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
Okay, thank God.
I haven't either.
Because I thought you had both seen it. That's why you had such a visceral reaction. So I was going to be the bearer of bad news.
Can I quickly say my line of argument to Chris?
Yes, go ahead.
I had this whole thing prepared. I was going to be like, yeah, so Chris, if you look at the highest rated movies for 1994 on Letterboxd, Chungking Express is number 9. The Hoop Dreams is number 7. So, and like, I had this whole entire lead in.
Well, okay. So Chris, if you
they're both Criterion releases. That's why I'm making the argument.
Yeah.
So look, Chris, if you look at the Letterboxd top ratings for 1994, the Chungking Express comes in at number 9, but Hoop Dreams, which I'm going to take, comes in at number 7. But look, okay. It's one that I've wanted to see for a long time. Every time I go to the Criterion sale, I'm always tempted to pick it up, and then I always end up picking up something else. I love sports. That's the industry I'm in. That's the job I have, is in sports. Sports, I live, breathe, die, all of it, sports. I love sports documentaries. I've never seen a bad sports documentary, and for the amount of acclaim that this one in particular gets, I had to take it. And also it adds variety. It's a documentary. So now we've got a classic from Tarantino. We've got a really big cult follower. We got a really nice heartfelt Christmas movie, and we got a documentary. I'm feeling good about my draft tonight, boys. Let's get it. I'm going to start with Nate. What do you think about that pick?
Did you say Nate or Nick?
Nate.
Okay, I don't even know if I want to say anything else. I was so ready for that to be in my lineup because I was like, I don't think anyone here is going to choose Hoop Dreams. And then right when you're like documentary, I was like, okay, there could be another 94 documentary out there. And then you're like, sports documentary. I was like, no, please, no. And then like you said it. And yeah, it's a great pick. And those Criterion lovers are really going to relate with that. So good choice, man. Good choice. GG.
Well, there we go. I'm gonna go over to Chris. What do you think?
I've seen the cover of this every time I go to Barnes and Noble during the Criterion sale. I just have never seen it, and every time I see it, I think of Now the Last Dance because of how I don't know if it's about what I don't know. I'm reading about it right now. It looks like it's about just NBA stardom. Okay, because it looks like a Bulls jersey, but I don't know. So it gives Last Dance vibes. The poster. So who knows? Haven't seen it. I haven't seen a lot of these, but if that hits Criterion side, we'll have a Criterion war among the polls. It looks like.
There we go. And then Nick, just audibly and just visually just stunned. What are you thinking?
I'm kind of sad because I was actually going to choose that one next. And the reason for it was I also love sports, and I wanted to. It's kind of sad because I wanted to diversify as well. That's a really good pick, and I honestly just you and Chris I think just kind of ran away with this on the Criterion side. Criterion lovers, look, I know Nate and I we make Criterion videos. Okay, we apologize sincerely. They just completely took us by surprise.
We'll see, man. I don't know how rampant the Criterion verse is on my channel or on my Twitter where the poll will be. So we'll see. We will see. I don't know.
Big Criterion following that he's going to bring over to vote, and
now he's not going to. Nathan's not going to retweet it.
well, I will say this week, and I haven't spoken to anyone, but I have been thinking about implementing a new rule to kind of balance it a little bit. We're each only allowed one quote retweet throughout the entirety of the poll. So that was a rule that I thought about implementing because we don't want people to keep quote retweeting and then it's just an issue of whoever quote retweets the most. So I'm still thinking about that. That may not be in play this week, but we'll see. People in the comments, let me know you think that rule should be in play. But we'll discuss later. But it's very interesting you brought that up because that is something that has been in my mind for the last 2-ish weeks about something like that. But I'm feeling damn good right now. I thought taking Clerks in the second round was going to kill me, and now I am on cloud freaking 9, feeling just fan freaking tastic. But Nick, you are up next. What do you got?
I am surprised no one's taken this film. It's an Oscar-nominated film. I'm going to go with Natural Born Killers. I've never seen the movie. That's why I guess I'm going to guess no one else really has seen it because we haven't picked it. I don't even know if I know anybody who knows about this movie or talks about this movie.
I know what it is.
Based on all the other films that I have on my board, I'm like, this is the one that might be the better choice just because it is an Academy Award nominated film. And it's gotten a lot of Oscar love. And Woody Harrelson's in it. And that's all I know.
Well, there you go. That's all I know too, except for the fact that also Robert Downey Jr., my guy, is in it. So I he's in it. I like it. I'm good with it. Chris, we'll start with you.
My roommate freshman year told me that it's like got a very disturbing opening sequence, and I haven't seen the movie, but I think it's Oliver Stone. I could be wrong. I think he directed it, and I just haven't seen it. I don't think I ever will because I hear it's a pretty disturbing movie. So no desire.
Nate, what do you think?
I've heard of it. I know the cover. I know Woody Harrelson's in it, but that's all I know.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Oscar nominated and very few thoughts. But we'll see. We'll see. Nathan, you are rounding out your draft. You got your last 2 picks. What are you going to take next?
Okay, so for my next pick, okay, I am going with a movie that has been adapted many times from the book to the screen. I was going to see if
I know
anyone.
what it is.
I know what it is.
Don't
I'm seeing
think
some
I know what it
smiles.
is.
No, I
Yeah.
know what it is.
I know what it is.
Does it have to do with some women that are little?
Yeah.
Because that's not it. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah. Little Women. Winona Ryder. I don't think she can do wrong. I think she's an amazing actress in anything she's in. Even in Stranger Things, she's older these days. In Little Women, obviously, she's a much younger actress. But even in Stranger Things, she is still giving amazing performances. And plus, who doesn't love young Christian Bale? I mean, he's amazing in it as well. So it's an adaptation that we get Winona Ryder, young Christian Bale, Kirsten Dunst, what's her name? Susan Sarandon, and a bunch of other people that are just great, just butter my biscuit. But it's a timeless tale. It's a classic movie. So yeah, going with that one.
Hey, I like the pick. I mean, the cast, you named just the cast alone. I mean, we had the recent one, which I really enjoyed. I think that story is, adapt as many times as you want. Don't be too annoying about it though. But I think that's a great pick. I think you're going to get a pretty big, wide audience for that. And yeah, that's really all I got to say about it. Nick, what do you think about that pick?
I love the 2019 Little Women film. I was very surprised. I didn't think I was.
2019, you mean?
Was it 2018? 19?
19,
right?
19, yeah.
Yeah. It was. It was great. I love that movie so much. I need to watch it again. You can't go wrong. Realistically, people can look at that pick in 1994 and be like, I love that book, so I'm gonna vote for it. Yeah, it's a good one. I didn't even have it on my list though, because I probably just stumbled, like my eye probably just like skipped it. But yeah, it's a good pick. It's a safe pick, and I like it.
Thank you.
And Chris, hopping over to you, what do you think?
Yeah, I've only seen the 2019 Little Women. I haven't seen this one, so maybe that will win you some people. They'll be like, "Oh, it's the same thing as this." No,
yeah.
So who knows?
They're like, "Why does this guy have a 2019 film in his lineup?"
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, to be completely honest, I haven't seen it either, but I've seen a lot of clips.
Oh, that's great.
But I've seen a lot of clips. My older sister really liked it growing up, so I caught glimpses of it.
Yeah.
I know some scenes, but man, okay. I'm torn for my second pick and my last pick. Gosh, this is so hard. Do I go with the more popular movie or the movie that might touch a fan base more? I don't even know if you guys can answer that. I'm just kind of thinking out loud right now. Okay, for my next pick, I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna go with another animated film that's actually anime, and it's called Poco.
Yep.
And it stars a family of raccoons. This just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it? It's about some raccoons who are fighting for survival because of a rapid development in their neighborhood. Have I seen it? No. Do I want to see it? Of course. I love raccoons. But I'm hoping that the anime genre is what kind of catches people's eyes. Even if they haven't seen it, if they're an anime fan, it's probably on their watch list at least. And like me, I wouldn't say like I'm a diehard anime fan. I wouldn't even say I love it. I like anime. I also dislike anime. I'm kind of just like in between the indifferent level, but it's a movie that I've heard about and it's on HBO Max to watch. And so it's on my watch list, and I'm really rooting for the anime fans on Twitter right now.
That's the pick of the night right there.
Yeah,
That's the pick of the night. I mean, you're in a fan base that hasn't been tapped, I don't think, at all in the history of movie drafts. Not even just this episode. I mean, you're tapping a fan base that, oh my god, that's the pick of the night, and to get it for your 5th round pick, the valью. I mean,
I'm curious to see if the one I was going to choose, any of you choose. I'll say what it is at the end.
I mean, the value. My desk is just shaking and quaking at the value.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean, that's I think that's the pick of the night. But I'll hop over to Chris.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but it could definitely tap another audience. And you mentioned a movie that you were thinking about picking, and I'm interested to see if I can guess what that movie is, but only time will tell. We'll wait till the end.
Yeah. There's a few. Well, yeah, we'll talk more.
Yeah.
And Nick, what do you think?
You just stole votes from me, from my own, from people.
Were you gonna do that, Nick?
People that watch me. No. But I have a lot of people that watch me that love anime. So I wish I would have thought about that. That was a great pick, and I hate you still.
Good to hear nothing's changed.
Well, I think that's one of the picks of the night right there, and I think that you're gonna tap a fan base that has not been tapped yet in this series. So I think it's a great pick to round out your night. But Nick, you're finishing your draft now. What are you taking?
All right, this is really hard because there are two movies that I've been debating on taking, but I think I'm gonna tap into my girls out there, my ladies. It's time that we give a pick to you. I'm gonna take a movie that has two beautiful men in Hollywood, and you're gonna love it. I'm taking Interview with a Vampire, which stars Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
That was mine, Nick.
The sexiest men to ever be on the silver screen. And that's ultimately why I'm picking this. Got a young Kirsten Dunst. It's a movie I have seen. I actually kind of like it. I thought it was actually quite good when I watched it, for the one and only time I watched it. And this is for you, ladies. This is for you. That's all I got.
I mean, there you go. It's ladies' night now. There you go. Look, I mean, I think that's, two of the best to do it in Hollywood right now. I mean, literally one of them just won an Oscar last year. I think that's a good pick. I mean, that's a good pick. It's a good way to round out the draft. Those are my thoughts. Let's start with Nate. What do you think?
Yeah, that was the one I was debating between. Do I do Pompoko or do I go to Interview with the Vampire? Because I know that that's a better well-known film. And also, for whatever reason, I really wanted to say my last two picks star a young Kirsten Dunst, but it's okay. I think it's a good pick. I've never seen it personally. I've seen like one clip, but I know that I feel like that movie kind of has a cult following itself. So yeah, that could really help you.
And Chris, what do you think?
To quote Bill Belichick, we're on to Cincinnati. I have no thoughts. I haven't seen it. I think that the cast was great, but again, I don't really know anything about the movie, and it could appeal to an audience because I know that a lot of people talk about it that grew up maybe around that time, but I haven't seen it.
I would be surprised. Actually, I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised if with your last pick, one of you guys chooses the other movie I was thinking about. And if you don't, I will let you guys know what that pick was, because it was, believe me, it was very hard.
Sweet.
Chris, I know what you're trying to do there. You're trying to earn some brownie points with me with the Bill Belichick quote.
Maybe.
That's a good strategy. That's a good strategy. But I'm up. I'm here to round out my draft. I'm feeling real good right now. And because of that, because I'm in the lead, I think, at least in my humble opinion, but I think we would all think we're in the lead in our own humble opinions. I'm going to go with the heart. I'm going to go with a family pick. And the reason why is because I always hear this from my dad. He's on my butt telling me, you need to watch this film. I think it's the greatest film of all time. If he's going to give me the recommendation that it's his most favorite, the greatest film of all time, then I got to pick it. I'm going with Legends of the Fall. Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, three brothers and their father living in a remote wilderness in the 1990s USA. I mean, does anything sound more majestic than that? And look, Nick, ladies' night, come on over here. We got Brad Pitt too. And for all the Oscar lovers out there, come on over too. We just got the new Best Actor winner. So
that might be a reason they don't pick you too.
Might be, but if any of you can stay for the podcast after, we will get into that. We will get into the Oscars, but it's Hopkins undoubtedly is a fantastic actor, one of the best to do it. So I haven't seen the film. Obviously, my whole story was just to tell you that I have not seen the film, but I constantly hear it from my dad that I need to because it's one of the best, according to him. So, because I'm feeling so good about my draft, I'm going to end it with that. Legends of the Fall. Ladies, come on over. But we'll start. Who are we going to start with? We'll start with Chris. Are we on to Buffalo? What are you thinking?
Yeah. I haven't seen this one either. I don't remember the last movie that was picked that I've actually seen. I don't think, but yeah, Brad Pitt's the man. He's probably my favorite actor. I'm looking at him right now. I mean, he's Cliff Booth. Gotta love him, but we got nothing.
well, I can answer that question on my end. The last movie that I saw was The Santa Claus, which was my pick in the third round. So we're doing really, really well. That's all I'm gonna really say. But we will move on to Nick. Nick, what do you think about that pick?
Let me just say, don't steal my ladies. Ladies, think about it this way: Brad Pitt as a vampire. Think about
ladies.
Robert Pattinson. Think about Robert Pattinson, but way sexier.
Ladies. Brad Pitt as a mountain man, rugged, doing the hard work.
Think
about that.
No. No.
Ladies, raccoons being moved out of their village. We're talking anime. My house right now.
Scientologists out there. Tom Cruise is in the movie I picked.
Yeah, I got Forrest Gump, so he's the ladies' man. I don't know. He's the best. So.
Well, man, I mean, when Chris does his Forrest Gump impersonations, I turn into a lady.
No, for real though, I have Keanu Reeves, and that's really all you need in life.
Touche.
I mean, we are in the middle of the Keanu Zance, so I'll give that to
that
you.
Just turned into everyone like boasting about the actors we picked, not the movies, the actors in our movies.
You know why? Because we haven't seen any of the movies that came out this year,
exactly.
So
we've been a deer in the headlights for the last like 2 rounds.
Oh man.
Oh, this is the draft. I said it in the group chat. This is going to be a good one. It's been a good one. But we'll move over to let's move over to Nate. Legends of the Fall. What are you thinking?
I'm just, incredibly jealous of Brad Pitt. I like, how can you not be jealous of him? He's literally like so good looking. And on top of that, what do you know? He's a great actor and a great producer as well. He's won Oscars for both producing and for acting. And so to choose a movie, both you and Nick, to choose a movie with Brad Pitt, very good play. And also I was, maybe we could talk about this more in the podcast, but if you guys saw my, my video last night, I was pro Anthony Hopkins for the win. So movie with Anthony Hopkins, I like the man as an actor. He's one of those actors that I feel like I don't vocalize how much I love him as much as I should, because whenever I'm watching a movie with him, I'm like, why don't I watch more movies from this guy? Like, he's amazing. And so just hearing he's in a movie, I'm like, oh, I should add that to the watch list. So well played there.
Well, we're breaking hearts tonight.
You sold me at rugged mountain man, Brad.
I had to do it. And that came off the top of my head too. It just happened. But let's finish out the draft. This has been a draft for the ages. The highlights that are going to come out of this, I'm already thinking about the content we can put out from all this. That's just great. But Chris, round it out. What do you got?
Well,
we're on to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, there's a lot of genres I could go from. I'm throwing one out the window because I already have another one of his movies. So there you go. That's out of play. You know what? I think I'll go with a movie that maybe there's a cult following for out there. Maybe people love this director despite the fact that he hasn't made a movie in God knows how long.
Yep, I know exactly. That's the movie.
Yeah, True Lies. It's a James Cameron movie with Schwarzenegger and I believe Jamie Lee Curtis. Yes, and Bill Paxton. So I mean, it's like pretty star-studded. It's one of James Cameron's last movies before he sold his soul to Avatar. I mean, it was 3 years before Titanic, but I haven't seen this. I've heard it's great. I don't think it has a Blu-ray release, or maybe it's not getting one. That's something I always remember people saying, like, release True Lies on Blu-ray, but I don't know much about it except that it's got Schwarzenegger and an iconic director, so maybe that'll win some people over.
This one has a solid cult following from what I've seen on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I think he scored good with this one as the last pick in the draft. That's value. That's value. So I like that pick. That's real value. I'm going to go over to Nate. What do you think?
This was one that I had on my list of movies to choose from if it got down to it, where I'm just like, crawling to try to find some water or whatever. I've
That's
never
me right now.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I've never seen it, but I know of it, and I know it's considered a classic for that time. So I don't know if it's a movie I'm necessarily like wanting to see, but I recognize it as like I know that people like it, so it's awesome. It's a movie. It's a good movie that's out there.
I'm gonna go over to Nick. How you feeling?
This was the movie. So my hat off to you, Chris. This is this and Interview with a Vampire were the ones that I was debating back and forth. And the only reason why I was going to take this movie was I haven't seen it, so I should take that out there. But for two things. Number one, Arnold Schwarzenegger. People love Arnie. Like anything with Arnie and James Cameron, like ooh. People believe that James Cameron is like the golden standard of directing. And also, you're going to win over a lot of people who were in love with Jamie Lee Curtis, because apparently Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie does some pretty hot things. Let's just kind of say that. From what I've heard, there's a lot of people in my space, because I watch like Cody Leach, or like kind of like the bigger horror people, and a lot of people love this movie because like Jamie Lee Curtis is also like really good in this movie, and also because this is like at the peak of her career. So yeah, man, this is a good pick. This is probably the best pick of the. I don't know. Like
I feel like you just feel bad for me, Nick. And like every time I pick something, you're like, Chungking Express is gonna win you the draft, man. And then like it comes back to this, and it's like,
but I want to say that like I think I actually regret taking Interview with a Vampire now. Just because I was hoping no one was going to take this, because I was like, you know what I mean? Like if I can't have it, no one can. But
yeah,
I just think it's funny the difference between Nick's answer and my answer. I'm like crawling to get some water. I picked, and Nick is like, wow, man, like you just chose the best one.
I'm trying to be. I'm taking over a new leaf, man. I'm optimistic.
Yeah, well, that ends out the draft. I'm going to read them back for everyone so that y'all can just hear. Nate had the number one overall pick. He took The Lion King, Ed Wood, Leon the Professional, Little Women, and Pompoko. Nick had The Shawshank Redemption, Dumb and Dumber, The Crow, Natural Born Killers, and Interview with a Vampire. I had Pulp Fiction, Clerks, The Santa Claus, Hoop Dreams, and Legends of the Fall. Chris had Speed, Forrest Gump, The Mask, Chungking Express, and True Lies. I think it's a good draft overall. I mean, I think
Nate's is the worst.
Well, here's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that someone who loves shopping at Hot Topic finds this poll, because if so, I will obliterate all of you. Just saying. Anyways.
Oh man, I'll be honest though, the Marvel and Disney shirts from there
are fire.
They're the best. But other than that,
I love
50-50. Yeah.
I love Hot Topic, but I've got Disney going for me and anime going.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
I love Hot Topic. Go there all the time.
No, that's where I got my Falcon and Winter Soldier shirt. Hot Topic's fire.
Same.
Yeah.
And those exclusive Funko Pops, unmatched.
Yeah, dude, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that rounds out the draft. Another great one. This is an all-timer. I think in a year, 2 years, a decade from now, we'll go back. We'll revisit this one as being one of the all-time drafts, just for moments and laughs and great times. I want to thank Nick and Nathan for coming on. You guys were great. Thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And they'll be back, guys. Don't worry. They'll be back, and they'll probably be back together.
Next time, can you just kick off Nate? Like, I just don't want to be associated with him next
time.
Well,
as you said that, I was just about to say, and they will probably be back together, because I don't think we can have another combo except for both of them.
At this point, like, it's funny because I joke with Nate all the time, but it's so true. Like, we are literally like, it's like Trevor and Chris. Like, we're the dynamic duo. Like, we're like a double package almost, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. And then the time, great laughs, great times. And Chris, you're back, co-host once again. Thank you for coming back, man. I had a good time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This is the week that my record will not be I don't think it will be. I will remain
Dude,
undefeated.
you say that every week. Just stop.
In like high school, I would always take a test and say I failed no matter what. That way, whatever happens, it's like I set my expectations low in life, and then I can't be disappointed.
Great way to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, sure, that's how it works. But of course, everyone, go over to Twitter and go find the poll. Go vote on the poll. Who had the best team? The graphic will be there. You can see all the teams up there. The poll will go until Friday. Whoever wins the poll wins the draft. That is how it goes. Thank you all for watching. Again, the support on this series has been unmatched. It's been amazing. It has blown me away. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week for another episode of Movie Drafts.